Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, we're going to be exploring the idea of a possible New York Jets Denver Broncos trade involving wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Now, these rumors started to fly around once Nathaniel Hackett got the job in Denver, and it became clear, it was actually reported, that Hackett was going to make a quote-unquote strong push to land an Aaron Rodgers. Since then, we've seen a ton of mock trades, trade ideas, trade packages for Rodgers, but one name that kept popping up was wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. And then, of course, Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network put out a tweet basically saying that the Jets and the Giants, because they have multiple draft assets, could be a major player in helping a team try to acquire one of these star veteran quarterbacks, guys like Russell Wilson, etc. And really the thought process was the Broncos, let's just take the Broncos would trade maybe a player to the New York Jets at a position of need. In turn, the Broncos would now get a draft pick, a pick or two, to now help or sweeten the deal for an Aaron Rodgers. Now, of course, you can make the argument, hey, why wouldn't you just keep Jerry Jeudy on the roster? Why wouldn't you just keep these players and offer them to the Green Bay Packers? And of course, that's totally valid. But to kind of just explore this idea, I think it's really interesting to continue to see Jerry Jeudy's name pop up over and over. And really the thought here is that Denver, I mean, they have a lot of positions figured out. They're arguably a quarterback away. But when you look at wide receiver, they're loaded. Courtland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, both Patrick and Sutton are here for multiple years. Both of those guys are studs. So again, the thought is that Jerry Jeudy could be somewhat of an odd man out. He could be an interesting bargaining chip to help sweeten a deal to whoever it may be, Green Bay, the Jets, or whoever would be interested. But man, I gotta be honest, when I look at Jerry Jeudy, I'm impressed. I've always liked Jeudy, even going back to college. I remember back in that 2019 draft, I was totally fine with any of the offensive linemen, which were Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, and of course Mekhi Becton, who the Jets ended up taking. And then the wide receivers, specifically CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. And at the time, it was Sam Darnold at quarterback, and we just had nothing to offer at wide receiver. And it was tough, so I would have been absolutely thrilled with either Lamb or JJ, but bottom line is Jeudy was a really solid prospect back at Alabama. He impressed me with his route running abilities, his hands. I love how he could hurt you deep down the field in the short passing game, intermediate. And I mean, again, if he was the pick over Mekhi Becton at the time, I would have been thrilled. He gets picked by the Denver Broncos middle first round. A young player. His rookie year, he was 21 years old. He comes in and has a really solid season. Now, I know the numbers might not jump out here. He had 52 catches, over 850 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. But I think all things considered, looking at the situation, his rookie season, again, being a rookie 21-year-old in a stacked wide receiving room with a quarterback question mark, with Pat Shurmur, a pretty conservative offensive coordinator, I think those numbers are solid. I really, really do. But here's the problem. His second year, the numbers dipped. Touchdowns dipped. No touchdowns actually last season. Catches dropped. Yards dropped. And he only started in 5 games. He played in 10, but was only a starter in 5. So it's a strange situation, because although Jerry is so young, right, he's going to be 23 at the start of next season, and he still has so much potential, and he's a great route runner. You would think that Denver would want to hold on to a guy, especially considering what he's being paid. He's only 2 years into a rookie contract, probably only getting paid anywhere from $4 to $5 million annually. I mean, you got to think, why would the Broncos trade him? But man, I mean, you just continue to see his name pop up over and over again. Not saying that there's any. I mean, the Broncos have given no indication like, oh, he's on the trade block, or we're taking offers for him. We're listening to calls. There hasn't been any of that. I mean, it's just all speculation. But I still think it's fun to kind of explore these ideas. So at 6'1", 190, 195, him being under contract through 2025, that's with the 5th-year option included, given that he's only going to be paid, a minimal amount considering the type of player he is, I think, honestly, as a Jet fan here, if we were to dish out one of these middle round picks, I would be pumped. I would be totally fine with it. Now, here's the bigger question. What would the trade compensation be? We've seen 3rd round picks getting thrown around, which is 69th overall. That would be awesome. Sign me up. I would do that in a heartbeat. But now we start to look at the 2nd round. We obviously have those 2 picks, 35 and 38. Would you deal, and I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. It's such an interesting discussion. and this obviously doesn't just go with Jerry Jeudy. I mean, it opens up the door for any player. Would you be down to trade either 35 or 38, in this case, for Jeudy? I think for me, it would be tough to say goodbye to one of those second round picks, because I mean, with the 2 top 10 picks, the 2 2s, the high 3, and the 2 4s, we have a real chance, free agency aside, we have a real chance to draft a core here. We already have, hopefully the quarterback for the long term. We have AVT, first round pick from last year, Moore, Michael Carter, both Michael Carters. We have a nice young stable of players here, but we have a prime opportunity to add some more. It would be tough for me to say goodbye to a second round pick, but I gotta be honest with you, I love Jerry Jeudy that much. I think I would be okay trading 38 away. I mean, look, if news broke, tomorrow, hey, Jets land Jerry Jeudy, we trade away pick 38, I would, at first instant reaction, I think I would be really, really excited. I think when you project him into the offense, he fits really well. You have to look at what Mike LaFleur calls for from these wide receivers. It's all about separation. It's route running. Can you get open by yourself? In the case of Jerry Jeudy, the answer is yes. So looking at his skill set, his system fit, knowing that he would take some of the pressure off of guys like Corey Davis and Elijah Moore, I mean, we don't really have much to offer as far as pass catchers, like actual threats at the pass catching position, tight end included. It's really only Davis and Moore here. I think Jeudy would come in and instantly be the team's go-to guy. And I think it also, of course the on-field stuff is great, but I think it also opens the door for some more flexibility as far as free agency is concerned. If we are adding a Jerry Jeudy and we don't really have to pay him much, and we're trading away a draft pick, now we can take, the millions of dollars that we might have offered a Chris Godwin or something like that, and take that somewhere else, right? Safety, tight end, edge, offensive line. We have tons of holes on this roster that need to be addressed. If the Jets can pull off a trade like this, I would be all for it. I would definitely be all for it. But again, those second round picks are, they're valuable. They are extremely valuable. But at the end of the day, I do find it a little, I don't want to say hard to believe, but I just can't see the Denver Broncos trading away a Jerry Jeudy to the Jets in exchange for like a 3rd round pick, and then they take that 3rd round pick and they include it in the Packers deal for Aaron Rodgers. I'm just not so sure. And plus you have to also take into consideration the fact that Davante Adams might be on the move as well. So maybe a sign and trade or something like that. If that's the case, or if the Packers do end up losing Davante Adams, Denver could just trade Jeudy to Green Bay, and not saying Jeudy would come in and replace Adams. Adams is absolutely terrific, but he could be just that. I mean, he's a really good player at the end of the day, so it could be a nice little recomp for the potential loss of Adams. So anyway, just kind of diving deep down the rabbit hole here. Let me know your thoughts down below. Can't wait to check them out. I appreciate you watching, and as always, go Jets.